So, today on Anime FMK, will it be Not Today, Satan? Or will we have to play Devil's Advocate?
I can tell you've been practicing that one.
I practiced it in front of you earlier, so...
The Devil and Mrs. Jones, Devil with a blue dress on.
Devil's a part-timer.
Yep, Devil is a part-timer.
I love that. Damn it! Don't remind me of that.
Bedazzled?
Oh my god.
Yeah, right?
Bedazzled. No,
The
that's
British chick from Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What happened to her?
I don't know. What happened
was
to
in-
Brendan Fraser?
She was in Bedazzled.
Yeah, she was in Bedazzled. Well, so was Brendan Fraser and
Here's the thing about Brendan Fraser. He doesn't give a shit. That dude can legit act.
Yeah.
He was in
it's
Gods and Monsters. Go watch Gods and Monsters.
Or that episode of Scrubs.
Yeah, and then come back and watch George in the Jungle and wonder what happened.
George in the Jungle has a joke about how big his dick is.
I believe it.
The first Mummy movie has aged impeccably well.
Oh,
It
yeah.
has.
It's still really good.
That was in that golden period where the CG wasn't amazing, but it was like...
The sand stuff is still pretty good.
Yeah.
I think that movie might actually be better today than it was back then.
It might be.
Oh, don't you love movies like that? The ones that just age like wine?
Yeah, like
Oh, man.
that's
like Men in Black 2.
So, today we're talking about Devilman Crybaby.
Devil May Cry Baby, as we call it
Yeah.
when we don't think hard enough.
Yeah, I've said Devil May Cry Baby so many damn times, and it's your fault. I would never have done that if it weren't for you.
I saw all these people on Twitter saying, "So what's about the Devil May Cry Baby?" Like, yeah, you're real cute.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be cute. I just fuck up when I say it sometimes because the name is too close to the other thing. Devilman Crybaby is an adaptation of Chohakai, his famous comic book.
Yeah, Chohakai.
Yeah. That's a reference to something.
I think it's like Super Destruction.
No, that's a name.
Yeah, it's
You're
in
saying
that-
someone's name.
Sayuki.
Sayuki, that's
Yes.
what it is. It's like, yeah, that's somebody's name.
I think that might be the deepest cut I am able to make from anime, and only because an ex-girlfriend was way into that fucking show.
I really liked Sayuki. And then they changed the dub cast for the second show, and I hated it.
Yeah.
But we're still avoiding the topic of this goddamn... I don't even know...
Because here's the thing, Ben, when you gave the summary last time, you were very condescending and antagonistic, so I was ready to come in here to punch your lights in. I need to know if that was your tone for the show you were approaching, looking down on it or not.
Here's the thing. At the time, I'd only watched the one episode. You know, I still have it in front of me. For the benefit of those who are because this is, by the way, this is a one-shot, so we should probably introduce ourselves. We're shit at that.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
we have to bear about that. Hi, I'm Kieran.
I'm Scott or Kaiser.
I'm Ben. We watch anime, and then we hold up signs. These signs have either a delicious green eggplant.
Or they have a knife.
Yep, depending on how we're feeling. At the end of the season, we can marry stuff, but we're not going to marry this one because we're doing this as its own thing, not as part of the regular show.
Can this count as a thing I marry at the end? Just wondering if it's an eligible
Yes,
bachelor.
no, at the end of the season,
right?
you can
like,
totally...
could I do that? Does that parse? Father Ben?
I'm inclined to say yes.
Okay. We can cross that bridge when we get to it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just saying that might be a case.
I definitely believe that at the end of the season, if nothing else wows you like Devilman did,
Devil May Cry Baby.
yes, then Bride of Satan.
All right, cool.
I think that could potentially get into a sticky situation later on. You know, we're doing movies,
that's why I
but-
say, like, it might. I don't know.
So, look, we're not trying to put a legal precedent into place here. Just asking for clarification on
I'm
this
just
particular...
saying that God is there to honor it. He's in the show.
Ish.
Oh, yeah,
Kinda.
by the way, let me put this out there. If you have not seen Devilman Crybaby, spoilers!
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the whole show, including the ending, which, holy shit.
Yeah. How do you want to structure this? Did we decipher that?
Well, here. Let's read through that first synopsis,
Okay.
the first episode that he made, and we'll go into that.
Okay.
So this is the synopsis of the first episode. This is kind of... This'll let you know what you're getting into. Akira is a sensitive young man who cries easily. Ryo is a sociopath who hates the weak and wants to kill them since they'll die soon anyway. Look out, Felix and Oscar, because there's a new odd couple in town. These two are best friends because reasons, and when Ryo tells Akira that an ancient race of devils are emerging and possessing people, Akira immediately believes him because reasons. And when Ryo wants Akira's help infiltrating a satanic drug orgy rave so that they can prove that devils exist, Akira immediately and happily agrees because fucking reasons. Hey Berserk fans, remember the eclipse? The rest of the episode is pretty much that, only without the disturbing yet believable character motivations that lent it the depth and meaning to elevate it beyond mindless exploitative sex and violence. Sound like fun yet? And you're right. that's coming out real snark-like. I didn't even read it in the full this guy voice.
I'm sad that you didn't. I don't feel like they got the full experience.
Look, that exists. Go back and watch it.
Yep, go do it. The card's gonna be here.
Yep.
It's right there.
It's right there.
If it didn't happen, then you know who to blame.
Yep. But, so yes, that does sound very condescending, but here's the thing. This is, as I often preface when we're talking about, Mancient Aegis Bride.
Yeah.
Yep. That Mancient Aegis Bride.
Mancient.
Yes. Some shows just listing things that happen, talking about the plot. This is not a plot-centric show, I don't feel. This is a
Not
show
really.
about style, about imagery. It's got some real good music.
Oh my God.
God does it.
I mean, it's got some subtext. Hey, you know how oftentimes getting superpowers is a puberty metaphor? This is barely a metaphor.
Yeah.
Like, he's waking up, he's shedding all over his bed because he becomes... So, Akira, I guess I didn't really... That was actually kind of a shit plot summary. I suppose we should actually introduce the premise. So, devils, they're a thing in this world.
Yes. Devils exist.
Devils exist. Ryo knows this because he's an archaeologist? ?
Yeah.
Kinda.
And he hunts up his old friend Akira, who he's good pals with ever since they were arguing over whether to murder dogs together as children.
Yeah.
He hunts him up, says, buddy, devils are coming back. We need to stop them or expose them. My plan is very vague, but I want you... Actually, in this version, it didn't feel like he even told him, like, hey, this is what's up. He kind of says, hey, come to this satanic drug orgy with me. I'm gonna have my camcorder.
We're just gonna prove they're real. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. And then turns out he's totally right. Demons, so they can possess people. Yeah. And it's real body horror shit. It's like, there's a reason why, and I have no idea which came first. There's a reason why I compared it to the Eclipse in Berserk, because
Devilman was first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Devilman,
Miura, I want to say, I might be wrong on this, but I believe he cites Gonagai's works as a big influence.
Oh,
on
yeah,
him.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can see the A to B.
Totally. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Eclipse shit. Kind of throughout the whole show, you see a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, devils are popping out of people, eating other people. It's crazy. It's nutso. And Ryo's saying, Amon, who is the name of a real good devil, real powerful devil, I guess. Hey, now's your chance, dude. I want you to possess my friend. And he does. Amon gets all up in Akira's hot teen body.
In a crazy sequence. That transformation sequence is...
Oh, yeah. That's some beautiful
It's amazing.
shit. Yeah.
But unlike most of these other people who are just straight up possessed, Devil is in control. Now, Akira has all the powers of a devil, but he still has a human heart.
That's right.
And Ryo says, hey, this was all according to Keikaku. I want you to be Devilman, a man who is also a devil. And go fight all the other devils on equal terms. And Akira at no point says, you monster, you ruined my life. You did not get my informed consent for this act of violation that has been visited upon my person. He just says, okay, cool, I guess I'm down with that.
Yep.
Because Akira Fudo is just so ready to help people, and so he's like, wait a second, now I can help everybody. You're right, Ryo, this was the best decision you ever made.
Yeah, because the thing with Akira is his superpower essentially is empathy. The thing he can do, the whole crybaby conceit is they kind of established earlier is that Akira doesn't cry for himself. He cries when other people are sad. And it's played up to a supernatural degree that he can sense when someone is sad and he cries even if they don't say it. And they deal a lot with that with scenes with him and Ryo. You get a lot of stuff like that later on. And even earlier, you see just him talking to people. He'll start crying. He's like, I can tell you're sad. I know you're sad. You're scared to let it out. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, like with the track runner.
Yeah, which is also a huge plot point. They took that from the movie, I believe. The track stuff, the stuff about track. I think that's from the movie. I could be wrong. But track is also a very important skeleton throughout this. You see track, because Akira's on the track team, and he has a friend. I've already forgot her name. Miki.
There's Miki and
Miko. Yes, that which comes into play later.
No, her name is Miki, damn it.
Also Miki.
Yes.
But they have Superstar Miki, his best friend, is amazing at track. She's like under 10-second runner, and that's just unheard of. And their friend Miko also, she's okay at track, not the best, but you can tell that there's some jealousy there. And Akira just does it. And at the start of the show, everyone's like, what the fuck? Why is he even try? He doesn't do anything. And that comes into play a lot later, but there was that in the first episode, so I want to set that up.
Yep. It's also kind of a thematic thing because they repeat it a couple of times, like, isn't it weird that humans run like as a competitive? Yeah. Like we're shit. Look at a horse. A horse is gonna kick your ass at running. Why are we even trying?
Mm-hmm. I do love that. You very rarely hear that conceit in these things. Like, man, they're so fast. Yeah, a dog could beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although supposedly, I don't know how true this is. I'm not an animal biotanist, but supposedly stamina is what humans are real good at. Like, yeah, lots of animals can run faster than us over short bursts, but we're going to hunt them down over the long run.
Which does kind of play into the show. Like, the reason humans are superior is because we have, I don't know if you know this, butts. And the butt, I'm not even kidding, this is legit. We have a butt that props us up, and those butt muscles let us run for much longer than every other animal can sprint. So yeah, a dog's going to be sprinting, but if we know where they went, we'll get them come dusk. Your ass is grass.
Nice.
Yep. Now that's
non-ass is grass.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're non-ass.
But that's actual science fact. What is in this show,
yeah.
They're up in here saying the reason why humans are so good when devils can just murderfy us without trying is, we work together. We invented some real good weapons. Like, there's a reason why humans inherited the earth from devils who apparently were around in the time of the dinosaurs, I guess. I mean, the dinosaurs were the devils.
It's kind of implied that, in fact, old devils were the dinosaurs. It's hard to really put that together 100% because Go Nagai's work is so kind of crazy. And Yuasa Masaaki, the director of this show in particular, his visual style is unlike anybody else's in the business.
It's unmatched. There's nothing like it.
It's like he took Mamoru Hosoda's style and then just decided, staying on model, why would you
What
do
is that?
that
No, I want
yourself?
people to get all gooey.
Yeah, no, let's just go crazy.
Everyone's made of putty in his shows. Everything is elastic. Everything is amorphous, kind of, to a degree.
And if you're unfamiliar with the name, you might be familiar with his works, Tatami Galaxy, Kaiba, which is
amazing.
one of our favorite
Such
shows.
a good show.
And a show that I've been in, Ping Pong, the animation.
Yeah, Ping Pong. People like. Ping Pong's pretty popular in the West, so people might know him from Ping Pong.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with Peter Chung's work, aka the guy who did Aeon Flux, very similar style there. Yeah. So he brings.
You mean the Reign the Conqueror guy? That might be the second deepest anime cut I'm capable of doing.
I was in a bridge series of that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
oh my god.
I don't know if I was I in an episode. I might have been. I can't remember.
Anyway, point being, So Yuasa Masaaki is just one of my favorite directors in terms of style.
Same.
And he brings it full force in this show. It's amazing stuff. Like, it's beautiful imagery. All the character designs are unique to each. Like, everyone looks distinct and fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Another section of this show that does pop up in the first episode that took me aback the first time. It's like, what am I even watching? But that I came to really like as the episodes went on are the rappers.
Yes.
Yeah.
My man. It's so good.
In fact, that's when I switched. At first I was given the dub a shot, and then I switched over like, okay, but I gotta see if that rap's the same in the sub. And it totally is.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only saw the subtitled version. I didn't see the dub.
Only one time in the entire show are one of those raps dubbed, and it's the one towards Miki. The Miko. Yeah, it's the one towards Miko.
Yeah, the one he gives.
Yeah, because that one had to be in English because it actually had thematic weight, and the guy in English, I don't know who that was, but he's not the best white rapper I've ever heard, but he does a good job. He's pretty good, and so I wasn't expecting rapping in this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. So those characters are actually stand-ins because in the original, they were just a bunch of Yankee. They were a bunch of street thugs, the kind you see in old 1970s anime with the uniforms and the hats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
so they were just a bunch of thugs. And so they're like, how do you modernize these characters? How do you make these characters real? Make them a bunch of wannabe and actually decent rappers.
Oh yeah.
No, they're good.
Yeah. Well, they're good because they got professional rappers
Yeah, which
to play
I
those
really
parts.
appreciated. Like the flow on some of the tracks, I was like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, real good.
But so they are characters. They interact with the plot. They do stuff, but they also function as basically a Greek chorus.
Yes.
Just they'll pop up in an episode and just give some commentary about what's going on. Like, oh shit, devil's all around, but capitalism's the real devil.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting here trying to make a living. I got a gun, you got a gun. Let's talk about gun violence in the streets.
Yeah. Gun violence, talk about drugs and how we don't like them.
Yep.
Rap's our drug.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I appreciated that. They made these characters much more empathetic and real by giving them that layer. And it does go a long way in the show. Like rapping, crying, running, all those. Like play a lot in the show. I really oh man.
It was
so good.
It's very interesting to see what the skeleton of it is because the show is mostly similar to the manga in terms of the story beats that are hit, but it changes a lot of things. Like the meat is very different.
It's Yuasa's interpretation of something I feel like he treasured growing up.
Oh yeah,
Because a lot of the shots you'll see of like Akira's room and a bunch of other places you'll see, because by the way, Devilman exists
Yes!
in this show. They know what Devilman is.
Yeah, it is a comic book that people read and they are into.
yeah.
Yeah.
It shows up on the TV in the orphanage. That
Yeah. The
The-
kids loved watching Devilman in the orphanage.
Yep.
yeah. So that is definitely Yuasa just being like, and it's a thing in world.
Yeah, and there's so many little things. I feel like we hit all the major beats of like the first episode, which is kind of like divisive for a lot of people. I know people either are turned off by the
that's
presentation at the end.
That's why I've told everybody, watch the first 3 for this because you'll get like if you like the first episode, I was so conflicted because I was like, okay, this could either be amazing or it could be just whatever. Like just by that first episode. But then again, I also love Yuasa. So,
I love him, so I was like, whatever, take me.
Yeah, I was basically like, but it's probably gonna be bitchin'. And
Yeah.
personally, yeah. The biggest thing about that first episode is that it throws everything at you. And
Yes.
it's like, so here's all of the sex and violence right up front. Not going to hide this. We're not going to try and shy away from it. It is just, here is a drug-fueled orgy that turns into just...
Now that said, like, yeah, if the sex and violence is going to be a turnoff for you, then I would disagree with Scott. You don't need to give it another 2 episodes. If that is giving you a problem, that's not going away. First episode shows you what you're getting yourself in for, and you can take that or leave it. And
Yeah.
No, that is true. Like, look, if you don't mind sex and violence, but you also, like, what I'm saying is, if you're down for sex and violence, but the first episode doesn't wow you, then give it 3 episodes. But yeah, if sex and violence is gonna squeak you out, then no, don't
This
even
is
watch
just not the
this
show for you.
But if you like violence and you want to see me stick 9-inch nails through each one of my eyelids, then keep watching. So yeah, that's episode 1. And we don't necessarily have to go stick with a strict linear order here, because especially the first like 5 or 6 episodes felt like, I don't know, variations on a theme. Like,
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, here's the monster of the day theme. There you go.
yeah, like the plot is not super important. There's a couple of subplots. Like in the second episode here, we see that so Akira, after transforming into Devilman, I mean, he can go full devil, grow wings, horns, blah, I'm a devil. But even when he's in his quote-unquote human form, he looks like a fucking rock star now. He looked like a little wiener dude. He looked like a dork.
He is so hot. I am sorry. He is really hot in his new, like, everything, actually.
When he is getting gearing up for the trek, and he's wearing those, skin tight shorts, and everybody's just, all the girls, all the ladies are just like, look at his fucking package, dude.
Yeah.
And
you
he
get this-
is rocking.
Yeah, you see it. It is not this like waist up shot where all the girls are watching. No,
no.
it is just right there.
Yeah, he's somebody's having trouble with a door lock, and he walks up to it, and you think he's gonna like Fonzie, like boom, hey.
Yeah.
He fucking kicks the door down, because that's how he does now.
Yeah.
Open now.
Yeah. So he's still very empathetic, but it's not that he's just the same dude, but now he's got these powers. Like, there is a personality change in effect here.
Yeah.
Which is very much like, yeah, you just turned, I don't know, 14, 15, you got hair in weird places, you're getting moody, you don't know what's going on, and you want to fuck so bad.
Oh my god. Yeah, so when we're talking about the sex and the violence, this show, does not shy away from this subject. It goes this close to showing you actual penetration. And I was almost surprised they didn't. Like, I was like, this is on Netflix. They could probably get away with it. But while Yuasa is totally willing to go into some pretty lewd places, I think that might be a step beyond him. But yeah, he starts having trouble sleeping at some point.
Yeah, I forget if that was in like the 3rd or 4th episode, but
I think that might be episode 5.
I think it's episode 5. I think all that stuff that stuff.
Honestly, episodes 2 through 5 or so of this show are just a blur in my memory.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, at one point he's real pent up.
And there's this scene where you're wondering if he's actually having sex with chicks, and then you just see him wake up in bed, sit up, hold out his hand, and then something starts dripping on it.
Yeah, and then he looks at the ceiling, and you know that one DBZA joke with Krillin in the cave? It's pretty much that, only you see the inside of that cave.
Yep, I can't believe that they show you his premature ejaculation on the ceiling.
Yeah, you see all of it, and it's amazing. It's great.
Honestly, it's kind of interesting because this show is only as good as it is because it's willing to go the places that it does. Well, there are times where I'm definitely thinking to myself, this doesn't need to do this. It doesn't need to go that gross. It doesn't need to go that dark. No, I think the show is elevated by the fact that it's like, no, that is just cum shot on the ceiling, and no character is safe. People will die.
It doesn't need to, but it wants to, which I enjoy. Like, it actively it wants to explore these because I think it is something so rarely explored in an artistic form. I really like it.
And in modern anime.
Modern, because you were mentioning this felt like a throwback to like 90s, 80s OVA stuff, which it totally does.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like we've gone away from this actually adult stuff. We'll still like have violence and boobs and stuff, but it all just kind of feels like, oh, look how cheeky we are. No, this is like, here's the drug-fueled orgy that then just turns into a literal bloodbath.
Yeah.
Yep. So throughout all of this, Ryo is sort of acting as Akira's mission control. He's sending him out like, hey, there's some demons over here. You want to go kill some demons? And they're butting heads a couple of times. There's a subplot involving Miki, who's basically Akira. Like, he's living with her parents while his parents are traveling the world. They're doctors or something. So she's sort of a love interest slash, like, they're living in the same house.
Yeah.
But there's a whole subplot. Like, she's kind of a semi-teen idol because she's this track superstar, and she's got her agent, I guess, who's trying to get her to do like risque photo shoots. Like, this is what the people want to see. You got to do this. She's like, I don't know.
I love how she keeps ducking him. It's so good.
But so at one point, they get mixed up with some demons. I was calling him in my notes that agent guy. Because he's an agent. He's doing all these skeezy things, but really he wants to be an investigative reporter. So I called him the intrepid reporter. But yeah, she sees some demonic shit, and he's just killed the reporter.
I love that scene, by the way, because that's what cemented to me as like, nope, Ryo's a bad guy. Okay, cool. So what happens is there's this water demon, basically, or a water devil, which I love how that was animated. That was that
was really cool.
The original one, like in the manga and in the anime, is not done nearly as well. This one, it's like water until it runs out of liquid, and then it just turns into that little like insect-looking thing. Freaking Akira beats him in the best possible manner by literally sucking it out of Miki and then burning him alive in his own
Yeah,
body.
you see him because it gets inside of Miki and possesses her for a bit. So Akira goes Devilman, sucks it out through her mouth, and then just steams it off.
Yep.
It's so cool.
So he has to crawl out, and then Akira just kills him. But so the reporter, who was the first one to get taken over before it took over Miki, he's unconscious in the bathroom, and you just see Ryo in there, and then you hear the gunshot, and it's like, oh. Okay. Yeah. No witnesses. No witnesses.
Yeah. And that is the first time they seriously butt heads because Akira's like, no, we're fighting devils though. That guy was a human.
And he wants to, because Ryo wants to kill Miki because she is possessed. She knows that devils exist and all this. She knows that he can turn to Devilman. She's like, I gotta kill her.
Well, it's not even implied that she definitely knew, or even that she.
No, it's not because she might not know, but he doesn't want to take the risk.
Yeah.
So he's like, we gotta operate under worst possible circumstances. She's gotta die.
Yeah, and Akira kind of gets his way on that one. They do not, in fact, kill her, and it turns out no, she doesn't remember any of it. It's fine.
Yeah, and they use a clever little thing that he hacked her GPS that she was at home all night. So it's like, obviously you weren't out doing things. It was all a dream.
Yeah, next day she's talking to the family at dinner. And she's like, no, I did all this crazy shit, and I think Akira was there. I don't know. And just like, whatever. Your GPS says you were at home, you crazy girl.
And that's the other thing about Ryo. He can just hack people's GPSs like it's nothing. He apparently has unlimited money. He's rolling around in this big fur coat and this dope sports car.
He is the most extra character I have seen in so long. But by the way, so that is one thing about the show that okay, minor nitpick. I hated that whole hacking thing.
I already forgot about it. It's so minor to me.
Yeah, he goes to the computer hacking and then just types in stuff, and then he has access, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Once you learn things about him, it's whatever to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's also apparently so at one point there's the whole thing in the track arena, and it's this sports broadcast, and he's just on the broadcasting team. Apparently he's a sportscaster too.
No, he was doing his own thing because the sportscasters were doing their own thing publicly. He was with some other dude doing a stream.
Yeah,
that's what they were doing. So they kept going because they were like, oh shit! Because surprise, at a track meetup, a demon shows up and kills dudes. Everyone cuts the national broadcast. He's streaming on a website and he's doing his own thing. He keeps it going.
Yeah, but I mean, the point is he's apparently a celebrity, except when it's inconvenient for people to know him, and then he's not. He's magic.
Yeah,
he's kind of magic.
He is very magic.
He's kind of like he's the Antichrist.
Yeah, he's very magical. Shit just kind of happens.
I think one of my favorite scenes in terms of Ryo just being as fucking terrible as he is early on is when he breaks into the reporter's house with his mother there. Goes up into his room, gets the files, and then when he's leaving, he hands her money. He's like, "Here, this should pay for the damages." And Akira's like, "Aw, he might be rough around the edges, and he might do illegal things, but at least he gave her the money to pay for everything afterward." And then we find out that he left a bomb in there and blew up the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He murders that old lady.
Although he did warn her.
He says, "Don't go to the computer."
Yeah, he says, "Don't use that computer." Although that
said,
but it could have been a timer. It might have been irrelevant. Who knows?
Well, that's the thing. He blows up half that fucking building.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if she's in the living room.
Yeah.
when her son gets home and gets on that computer, guess what? Boom.
Yeah.
Except I'm pretty sure, because here's the thing: was he gonna kill the guy either way? Because I think he was probably going to kill the guy either way. I think when he said, "Don't use that computer," it's, do not use that computer, because if you do, you will know, and then you have to die. So when she used that computer, I think that's when it went off.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. Anybody, sooner or later, somebody's going to sit down at
somebody
the
was
computer.
going to die via the computer.
I'm not saying it was a perfect plan. I'm just saying Ryo's a bad guy. Ryo's a bad person. I'm not saying that it's her fault. I'm just...
And throughout these episodes, as a bunch of just things kind of happen left and right, Akira is going to Ryo, like, hey, what do you need to do? We got devils. Then we get episode 5, I feel like, is a big turning point. If you want to jump to that one.
Yeah, I think we can. I think it was, 5 is the one where, because it's 6 where everything goes down at the track meet and everything changes.
Well, yeah. Let's introduce 2 characters that are very important before we move on.
Okay.
Because Miko, we've talked a little bit about Miko. Miko shows up early on as just kind of an average girl. You don't know much about her. You get some scenes with her and one of the other rapper dudes.
Yep.
Who's we get his rap song in English because it's a love song, like this ode to her.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And she waters the flowers outside of her building, and it turns out that her name is not Miko, it's Miki. But she also runs track with Miki Mikamori or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone started calling her Miko, so they didn't mix her up. She's also got huge boobs. And I wouldn't mention that if the show weren't absolutely trying to tell you. By the way, she is stacked.
Yep.
And there's also another dude, so the show even makes a joke about this, that the other dude, the professional track runner, the one who shows up in a split scene in the first episode about his partner dying, he's also in the show, but he doesn't show up again proper until like episode 6, I think. Maybe
it's around there.
Yeah, around there. It's after, so he looks exactly like rapper dude.
Yeah, they look the same.
Yeah, like their faces are different, but everything else is very similar. So it's kind of distracting, and they make that joke because they think it's him from behind. And he's an asshole. Like, he's an asshole from the very beginning, too.
Mr. Johnny Trackstar, I can't remember his name.
He's also Devilman.
Yeah, because he's the one who, in the track meet, he turns into a monster and goes nuts.
Yep. And he's a huge, giant fucking bull
thing?
Yeah.
Bull
Meanwhile, thing? Miko ends up also turning into a devil woman. And you can definitely see where their personalities have changed. With Miko, she's just driven to do better. This other guy, he's just kind of become a bigger asshole, and you can see because the plot takes them in different directions. They're new.
Yeah,
they were not in the manga proper. Miko's not in there. Track Dude isn't in there, and I feel like they are fantastic.
They're great additions.
Yeah,
I like them.
And so, yeah, Miko. We'll talk more about Miko, but yeah, let's go to episode 5 because episode 5 is where things go nuts.
So I'm still not sure what you mean when you say that.
I'm about Selene.
Yeah, Selene. That's
Celine.
Whatever. Yeah, she's a demon lady. Has this very striking all-white character design. She really wants to bone down with Amon, the devil inside Devilman, the titular Devilman.
Amon.
Yep. Yeah, she really wants that. That is literally the only thing about her character.
Pretty much.
Kinda, yeah. Actually, funny enough, not in the manga. I was curious. I'm like, so how was any of this very sexual imagery? No.
And that was kind of not that, but that was kind of disappointing to me because for the first few 4 episodes, I think she's showing up here or there as Akira, as is a pretty common trope in this sort of thing. Devilman is just wasting demons left and right, and then it'll cut to her plotting, Amon, how glorious you are, and it's building her up she's the one who actually knows what's going on. She's the one who's pulling the strings. She's the one who's an actual threat. Turns out she's not.
Yeah.
Any of those things.
It's sort of interesting because she's definitely not on his level. See that it's weird because they kind of nerf her a little bit in this version of the story, but her fascination with Amon is really, really you can feel it. It's this really dark, really aggressive sexuality. She's kind of built up a little bit. She's kind of one and done, and that's kind of sad.
I know.
But she has a very important story element, though. What she tells you is that these demons are also can still love, and that's important. I felt like that was more important than whether or not she was a threat.
Yeah, I agree. I think her appearance and whole thing, because what this ends up with is they have this big fight, and there's also this other dude that she's been pushing off, because it's also another important thing. She's been pushing off this other dude who wants to bone her, and he's like, oh, whatever, I only want Amon. I've only got eyes for King Demon Daddy. And but eventually, Akira he's all pent up. He's going, visits her. They start going to town. She turns into a monster during it. So he also matches her, keeping it up with this the really sexual fight. really sexual fight. And
we'll talk about that after we're done with the scene proper.
And as then they take to the sky, and in this gorgeous fucking blood red moon backdrop, they're having this aerial battle. And he's getting like the first like really time using his wings. Like Devilman can fly, he can do all this crazy shit. And they have this between this back and forth. It's very evident what she wants and what he wants they're kind of the same thing. They both are still feeling something. And then he rapes her in the air.
Yeah.
And it's nuts.
So the way the battle ends up playing out is that she can control limbs that are like ripped off of her own body. So she, even though it's no longer attached to her own body, she's still ripping up Devilman, but he pulls the old like jump at the last second, and basically it impales her. He rips her to pieces. And at the last moment, the guy that she was shoving off, like, I don't know, only Amon can satisfy me. He's like, take my body. And she's like, but if I do that, we'll both die. And he's like, yeah, but we'll kill that asshole. And I want that for you. I want you to taste the victory of defeating Amon. And she's like, oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I'll do this.
And this, by implication at least, is not a usual thing for devils. Like, an entirely selfless act. Like, no, I want you to have this. I will sacrifice something so that you can have this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it basically tells you, oh, they love. He loves her and wants this for her, which is important. And so they do their little fusion, and they beat Devilman. They just wreck his shit.
They destroy him. He is bloodied and battered on the verge of death. Yeah.
But they die before they can finish him.
Yeah.
And which was almost unsatisfying if it weren't for the fact that they were not about defeating Devilman. They were about teaching him something. But so let's talk about the fight, because so as we've talked about here, I think we all have a certain moral viewpoint on sexuality, on violence when it comes to these things, and whether or not they're used effectively or exploitatively, and what message they send. Because the entire point of Celine's character is that she wants to fuck Amon so hard. She even says, I want it rough. And in the Japanese version, she just says, hard and, fast and hard. No, in the dub, she's like, I want it rough. And I'm like, okay, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And he does, but after the point where she's not wanting it anymore. Yeah. And it's a little uncomfortable.
His line specifically is, you want to get fucked so bad, here we go.
Yeah. And it is an uncomfortable scene. Like when it happens, because you have to look at it as a very terrible character who has murdered people that he loves, but where do you go with that? How do you talk about this? Because it's like, well, he was totally justified. Was he? It's no, yes, I don't know. I think it's beyond my scope, and it's just a really uncomfortable scene. And
I think for the purpose of making you feel uncomfortable and alongside stellar imagery dealing with very uncomfortable themes, this knocked it out of the park. I had no reaction other than eyes wide, jaw dropped. This is happening.
Yeah, I won't lie. Like the moment it was happening, I was like, oh my God, this is actually something that somebody directed, animated, voice set a score
to. Said, nope, okay, we're going to write this. Okay, we're doing this. And all through the steps, yep, this is what's happening. And I don't know. I really liked it. I thought I enjoy, if you can't tell from my previous season's pick, I like shows that make me uncomfortable. Yeah. I like shows that do things outside the norm. And that's all this show is. And this was one of the moments that I felt was really emblematic of everything it is trying to do, is dealing with things. We have devils, drugs, sex, violence. All of this is dialed up to 11 and says, okay, let's get real gross, real deep in what's going to make you uncomfortable. And I felt it served its purpose of showing that Devilman is not the perfect character. He's not the perfect, he's a devil, but it also shows that at the end of it, he still felt something, because that whole reason, like, he did that, not just to punish her, because the moment we see afterward when they're dead, he says, I felt something. I think that was love. Like, that's what Akira says. He's like, that's really weird. Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that.
Not for her, but between the two.
Yeah, between the two of them. Yeah. So, I don't know. I liked it.
How did you feel about that scene in particular?
I don't know. Here's the thing about this show. When everything's at 11, nothing is. And it didn't stand out to me. I was just sitting there like, yep, this is one more big, crazy, over-the-top fight. And then they try to throw some like, oh, are devils people too? And I just kind of didn't. I don't know. It didn't do a thing for me.
I can kind of see that. Like okay, so we haven't talked about much about what I didn't like about the show. So we're halfway through. Let's talk about what didn't work for me in the first half.
Sure.
Yeah, it needed and it's weird because it does have a lot of softer moments. There are a lot of moments where it kind of brings it back down to earth, and they are very, very strategically used to introduce you to characters, motives, the world, but there are times where I kind of feel like it is trying, but you can kind of feel how hard it's trying to go crazy with certain things.
Okay.
Not to mention, and I love. Okay, so this is a guy who loves Yuasa's style to death. I did feel like there were moments where the art and imagery were a little bit too crazy for the subject matter, to where I feel like there was supposed to be a little more emotional resonance, but all I could kind of feel was it was really the style over the substance in a few scenes where I felt like it needed to be a little bit like more subtle or more detailed with the art and animation, or a little less crazy over the top. That was my big problem with the first half.
Yeah, that and just that it is episodic's not the right word, because I mean it's a serial story, it goes from episode to episode, but it very much felt like, okay, here's the big crazy fight scene of this episode.
Yeah.
Monster of the week. None of the villains at this point feel meaningful or threatening. They're freaky, they have really cool designs, but one episode just kind of blended into another, and none of them really stood out to me in this first half.
I want to we haven't mentioned this either. You binged it, right?
I actually, like, not all 10. I would watch like 2 or 3 episodes and then I'd take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how, because we were debating this, little meta talk. We were debating about doing this week to week.
Yeah.
After I binged it completely, and I think after you watched the first episode, you're like, no, man, we can't do that. I wonder if that has to come into play with how it's perceived. Like if this been week to week would have been a different thing.
Yeah, I remember that you and I had a conversation of, so was this made to be binged because it was on Netflix, or did they approach this the way that most anime are approached is, okay, you're going to have to wait a week in between these.
Yeah,
and
I
the more I look back on it, I cannot imagine watching this episode to episode.
I couldn't either. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I don't know. We're also approaching this from a weird angle where every week the 3 of us sit down and talk through everything. I think it might have benefited a lot from that, from taking each episode and then, let's 3 sit down and really digest this. I don't think most people are going to have that experience.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I think the most common thing now is it's all available. Fuck it, let's go. I'll go until I can't, until my eyeballs fall out, and then do the rest tomorrow.
That skip intro, it skips the intro, skips the credits, and is just 1 3-hour movie. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. So that is one thing that I was also thinking of as well. Is I watched it pretty much as soon as it came out, so a lot of my memories a little scattershot. The thing that stands out the most is the ending episodes, and I'm just wondering if that's the case for everyone, or if spacing it out would have made those beginning episodes have a bit more weight to them. Because we didn't touch on it, he kills his parents. That's a big deal.
By the way, least favorite part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
Yeah, no, that was really poorly handled. I couldn't believe how badly done that was, actually, considering the rest of the show. And it's not necessarily that they died. The fact that they died was shocking and guttural. It got an actual oh man, okay, his parents just died. There's no fallout from it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like anything comes from that.
Yeah, I think it's because he has to. You get some moments where he seems more pensive, but it's just kind of there, and then we move on.
And part of that is due to the fact that it kind of so this is 10 episodes, and it adapts all of Go Nagai's manga of Devilman, and they already went out of their way to introduce 2 brand new characters and their own storylines that go with this. and they felt it was necessary to cut out the emotional weight and meat of his parents and their death. Because that monster, that turtle monster, is classic among Go Nagai. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, that character. If any Devilman fan will tell you that guy is fucking crazy, and his inclusion, like here, if you'd have told me that, if this is the only time I'd ever seen that character, I'd have been like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, that guy. All right.
Like it's a cool concept with the faces all over him and these people who don't know they're dead or do know they're dead but can't deal with it. And
I never felt like I got a good look at him though, like what his whole design was, because it was just lots of here's this face, here's this face, here's this face. I think seeing the whole like, no, this is how it all fits together might have, or maybe that would have made it worse.
I don't know. I kind of like that because it helps. I like how they use the angles there. I think it helps skew and show you what's important. It's not that he's a big turtle monster. It's that he has the faces of people who think they're dead or know they're dead and can't die.
Yeah.
Like that's the important part, which I kind of like how that was directed and framed. But yeah, I don't know. That was one of the things that I felt like in every other thing, every other show would have been such a big deal. And I don't know, it really wasn't here.
Yeah.
No. And especially because you get so little of him thinking or talking about his parents that when this whole big scene happens, it's like, okay. I mean, that was his mom and dad that just did it. And I felt like, and obviously he's sad about it, but it's like the refraction period there is like,
yeah, like much like the Celine fight, it felt like, well, We've had 3 or 4 of these Monster of the Week fight scenes. We've got 2 more. Can we add something to that to make it a little more than the ones that came before it? And it just, because it still was the same formula, like, hey, here's a cool design, and he murders them.
yeah,
like it just didn't work.
Yeah, I mean that's basically the thing. I don't know. I felt that was probably one of the weaker things. But commenting on what you said about the like slower and softer moments, I agree. I think there should have been some bit more like character. I think overall, and not as noticeable in the first half, but definitely in the second half, characters needed time to breathe and exist for a bit. But I do really enjoy I love the visual style of this. I wouldn't trade it for anything because that's what I'm here for.
So okay, if you've seen all this up till now and have not seen Devilman, this is where you want to like get out.
Yeah.
Like if you're curious, if now you are curious about the show, get out now because literally halfway through the show, everything changes.
Yep.
It is, yeah, it's going to be impossible to dodge really heavy spoiler stuff that kind of paints the rest of the show differently right now. Go watch it. It's on Netflix. I'm sure you have a Netflix account or somebody's friend or your parents or whatever.
Yeah,
go do it.
Go watch it.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
If it's your parents, if you're under 18, maybe
then no,
ask
don't
mom
do
and
that.
dad's permission.
I'm saying because I use my dad.
Or clear that history after you're done.
Yeah, just do something here. Because, in episode 6, just about exactly halfway through, that's when the status quo finally changes because the world at large becomes aware this is no longer a secret war against demons. This is, oh shit, devils are real though. And like that. Yeah, that happened because that happens in episode 6. That's where they have the big fight in the sports arena, and Ryo is like, "No, are we getting this?" And in episode 7, that's when you see the fallout from it, which is martial law is happening. The armed forces are getting on this. Ryo is a straight up rabble rouser. He's up here on TV telling people like, "Yo, you can't trust your neighbors. You gotta
anyone could be a devil."
Yeah. Which by the way, so. Up until that point, you get this idea that that Ryo is trying to do what's right for humanity at any means necessary. But he's also got this curiosity that comes through. Like he's testing waters, he's trying different things, and it's at this point you realize there's something wrong with him, something bigger than just he's obviously a psychopath. No. There's something bigger at play with Ryo as a character. It's like, because, you had a
few glimpses of flashbacks with him.
Yeah.
There's no context to him. You just see a few shots.
Like when he's like, let me kill was a cat or dog? I can't
dog.
remember.
So when the two of them were children together, they found a stray dog, was obviously very sick. Akira's like, hey, let's take it in, let's care for it, let's heal it. And Ryo's like, no, man, that dog is on death's door. So give it to me and I will finish the job. And he doesn't even frame it as it would be a mercy.
No, he's just like, no, let me kill it.
Yeah, I want to.
And this becomes very important later when the dog finally dies.
Akira starts crying.
Akira is
he's
bawling.
Yeah,
and of course Ryo is like, "What are you crying about? You knew it was going to die." And he's like, "You're crying too." And he's like, "No, I'm not." It's like, "Yes, you are. You're crying too." And that becomes very, very important later, because again, Akira can tell when somebody is sad, when somebody is hurting deep down.
Yeah.
And he's always like, "You're crying," even when they're not.
Yeah, like as I mentioned, the supernatural empathy that seems to transcend any form of communication. He can just kind of tell.
But at this point, Akira is telling people, don't trust your neighbors. If
Ryo
anybody's
is.
even... Oh, yeah, sorry. Ryo is telling people, don't trust your neighbors. If anybody seems even a little bit out of place, do what you have to do.
Yeah, and Akira, this is the next time that they're butting heads, and this is when you realize the scale doesn't matter to Ryo.
Yeah.
It's not like these one or two people are, necessary evil, this sucks, but this is what we gotta do. It's like people around the world right now are killing other people because they don't know who's a devil and who's not, and shit's gone real bad, and Ryo is still sitting here like, yeah, no, a certain number of casualties were inevitable. This was always going to happen.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Meanwhile, America's like, so they don't show a lot about these guys. I'm wondering if they were more in the manga. There's like a committee of devils who basically are trying to play things behind the scenes as well. They're like, no, we can use this, or no, this was bad. We have to do something about this right now. Otherwise, things are going to go to shit. Yeah. And it's interesting because I don't know at what point they realize what Ryo actually is, but they figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not they knew it from the very beginning, or because I feel like what's her face, the assistant, had to know.
The assistant knew.
Yeah,
that stated that.
By
she
the way,
knew.
that assistant from the very beginning.
Yeah,
is
Jenny, I believe, is her name.
Psycho Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ryo has this assistant who has this just stone-faced, crazy, like.
I love the comments like, talk about too much plastic surgery. And then Ryo's like, she didn't have any plastic surgery done. And the guy's like, I thought that. I did not say that. What?
Yeah. No, there's, you see a bit with the demons scheming, like, shit, cat's out of the bag, everybody knows that we exist, and they're going to start persecuting us, and they're like, don't worry, we can figure stuff out.
But, by the way, so Ryo speaks in English a lot.
Oh, yeah. Did
like,
you see the...
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you watch this dub or sub, you're good. They're both good. They're both rock solid. But if you watch it subbed, you're going to get Ryo
You're in for a treat.
Doing whole speeches in English. And it's weird because he's this good. This close
he's so close to being good.
But the stuff where he messes up on in terms of pronunciation is so stark that it's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, do not trust your friends. They are demons. And I'm like, okay, this is hilarious.
Okay, Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's Tommy Wiseau telling the entire world that demons are real.
So the person next to you could be a demon. It's like, okay, he's got it.
But it's funny, but yeah,
Yeah, this is also the episode. I don't think they ever really do establish, like, what, if anything, the rules are for who can be possessed by a devil.
Yeah, it is a little too vague to me. I think it's people who, basically, I think it's people who have a lot of conflict deep down inside.
Well, I mean, that's what Ryo says. There's no reason to believe that's the case, because that's the thing. This is the episode where Miki's little brother, who...
Yeah, because this is what I wanted to get to.
Yeah, who, like I say, Akira's been living in their house. He's basically a little brother to Akira as well. He's just this adorable little Muppet child who's been going
He's
around.
like, oh man, Devilman's so cool.
Devil Cat!
Devil Cat!
Devil Cat's too good!
Yep. This is when he becomes possessed by a demon, and he doesn't seem to have a whole lot of conflict in his life.
Yeah.
This just kind of happens to him, and it's shitty.
It seems to imply that he was either already had something going on that has just now surfaced. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not really established because the episode prior, he doesn't have the shit in his eyes. The next episode, he has got the lines under his eyes, which has kind of been indicative of you got a demon in you.
Which, by the way, when I saw that, I was like, wait a second, is that just the? Did I miss that?
Yeah, I thought so too.
It's so subtle that there was a part of me that was like, is he always drawn like that, or is he?
Yeah, because that's right after we know demons exist, and this is the moment I really wanted to talk about. Then everything after this obviously, but we see him, we see the little brother, and then the mom, Miki's mother, is talking with the other parents, and they're like, "Oh man, did you hear that? So and so down the lane was a demon. I can't believe our children were playing with them."
Meanwhile, some guy puts his ties his dog up to the post, walks into the grocery store.
Yeah, and with the dog right there just tied up, and you see the little brother. I can't remember his name, but he's just staring kind of wide-eyed at the dog. And then next scene, mom's talking to the women, turns around, dog's gone, kid's gone. What happened? And she goes back to the car, and the kid, tearful, just turns and says, "I'm sorry, Mom. I was so hungry."
Yep.
And you just see the leash and blood and bones.
And you see like half the corpse.
Yeah. It's,
And so I want this trope to be eat the dog. Yeah, it is a man. The moment I saw that, like, it's so interesting because halfway through the show, like at episode 6, so yeah, you're right. We said episode 5 is when it goes crazy. I think just episode 5 is when like it really hits that climax of the first half of the show.
Yeah.
But at 6, it starts a whole huge cascading effect of shittiness around the world. And it is so hard to watch.
It really is.
You can't believe that this is happening. When I was watching, I was like, is this show really going to go here? Is it going to go damn near like it? They talk about revelations, and I'm like, this feels like it's building up to the end of the world.
Yeah, well, and then in episode 7, that's the other thing that happens is the Russians and the U.S. are straight up trading nukes.
Yeah.
Because, the 7th Fleet is, like, the Americans are blaming the devils on the Russians. They're saying it's a bioweapon. Mm-hmm. It turns out that the American forces have been replaced by devils, and that's why they're, like, stoking the fires here.
And then God decides to make a move.
Yeah, like out of it's not said that it's God, and I think in that episode, I think afterward they say it, but you just see the fleet is out there ready to fucking go, and then just one of the colonels is like, what the fuck is that light? And then eclipsed in this white ball with like yellow like scribbles and like designs all around it. It looks so fucking cool. You just see it take up the Pacific Ocean and more and more and more, and they're gone.
Yep. And you even see one of the pilots turn to salt.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, let's touch on God here because God is so. Actually, no. Let's not talk about God until the end because God.
We can do a lot of the religious stuff at the end.
Yeah. Let's talk about God after that. But yeah, so God steps in, wipes out like a continent full of like
pretty much,
and it's crazy. And that's when we start to get the idea of what's going on with Ryo. Gosh, when do we get that reveal of what Ryo's about?
Well, because
that's the very last episode.
Yeah,
I think,
is
where
that
you
the
get
last?
Yeah,
oh yeah,
that is the very last episode.
Okay,
so I don't want to do that yet.
Yeah, because that's the thing. In this episode, after you see this like huge thing, this is the first time that you see Ryo. He's freaking out.
Yeah,
because this was not part of his plan. He didn't see this coming. And at this point, I type into my notes, I don't feel like I have a handle on Ryo as a character. What's his deal? Why does he do stuff?
Yeah.
He just, like, up until now, it's always seemed like this is all part of his master plan, and now something happens that he didn't plan, and he's wigging out.
And also, in a scene that I both love and hate, is the scene where, I think this is definitely an earlier scene, where he outs Akira on live TV.
I think that was episode 9. I think
yeah,
it's right before the last
that's
episode.
later. So we've still got.
Okay, sorry. These all do blur.
So we're in episode 8 right now.
Yeah.
This is
because we still have to deal with the little brother, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is.
Let's finish off the little brother.
Yeah. This is when that subplot gets wrapped up because so his mom, still her son. She leaves like a Dear John note for her family, and she takes off with the little brother because what else can she do? They're taking refuge in this like hobo refugee camp.
Yeah.
And the dad goes off to search for them
via their GPS.
Yeah.
And you get a pretty vast and grim depiction of what the country now looks like.
Yeah.
With just, you see rampant people, spokespeople out in the streets going like, everyone's a fucking demon. It's still not too late. You can come join, come believe in God. It's going to be fine. Which also, by the way, the father is, I believe, English, right? Because he's a Christian. He brought it over. Because they're a Christian family. He brought it with them. So he is still the one character that is like the devout Christian, which is, I love how they play this up. So he's exploring the town and sees people getting murdered on the street, sees the statesmen just shooting him down, the state militia, all this shit. Then eventually he finds them at the tents, and when he goes, he's just looking around trying to find everything, and he sees, I think he hears, he just hears something from the back there, just shouting him out, and then he sees his...
Oh, yeah, because he's ringing the number.
Yeah, because he's ringing... That's right. He's ringing the number, and he hears the phone. He hears the phone ringing. That's right.
Yeah.
And it goes to voicemail, and you just see him like, hey, on the voice... Oh, God, it's so good in this moment. You hear it go to voicemail, and obviously, like every other one, it's like, hey, you reached blah, blah, blah. You leave a message. Hope to see you. And while you hear that, you see the image of the younger brother is now morphed into this crazy homunculus monster.
He was a kid now, but he's a squid now.
He is absolutely a squid, and he...
Oh, you know I've been saving that.
Oh, my God, damn you. Oh, I'm so angry right now.
He, by the way, in his human, after he turns into a devil man but still has his human form, he totally looks like one of the squid kids.
He does. He's got the shit going on.
No, it was accurate. That's good. I hate you.
But you're seeing him with his mother, man's wife, halfway inside the young kid's monster mouth now.
Yeah, just chowing down.
And he's just like, you just see his eye, just the way they frame it is you're just seeing the side shot of his mouth, the eye looking straight outside, and the mom's only the legs. You only see the legs inside. She can't hear anything. And this scene...
And you just see a tear coming out of his eye.
Yeah, you just see it, like, after he makes eye contact with the dad, you see him crying. And this, I feel like Yuasa had this scene in mind from the very beginning. Just the name Crybaby, you'll see it a bit more in the later episodes too. Crying in this show is done so well. People really, like, just the performances he got out of these people. This whole scene, because the dad has a gun and he doesn't know what to do. And he is deliberating for about 3-5 minutes.
Not quite that long, but it
feels like
yeah,
it.
no, it feels like it. Yeah.
And just like, I don't know what to do, and just the animation of him tearing up, and like everything he does, puts his hands on his face, he reels over, he has the gun, he puts it down, like I'm gonna do it. And he turns everything he does. I feel like I could break this whole scene down. It's so fucking good.
You just see him go through this grief as he keeps
everything.
trying to reconcile it because he knows he has to shoot his kid. He knows he has to shoot his child, and he tries, and he tries, and he keeps pulling the gun up, and he just reels back over, and it's easily the most gut-wrenching scene in the entire show.
It's so good.
Yeah, see, this feels like what they were trying and failing to do with Akira and his parents.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit,
A little bit, yeah. I think this is... They really got this fucking scene down. And with... words fail this scene. It really is. You gotta experience this.
And of course... it goes south from there.
Yeah, as everything else does. Because he has the gun ready. It seems he's finally brought up something to do it. Then he doesn't. And the militia or the military that was gunning down people earlier have caught up to these tents, and they're ready to open fire. And they can clearly see the monster kid in the back. And so he's standing in front of them like, that's my son. You can't shoot him. Gun down.
Yeah.
Just murder him.
In a brutal shot. Like they don't. This show does not have a lot of gore discretionary shots. And you see this poor father who just had to deliberate over killing his son, get gunned down completely. Just parts of him go off, and it's really brutal. It's hard to watch.
It is, and I loved this whole episode. I really loved.
Oh yeah, no, this is the best. It's probably the best episode of the second half of the show, just because of everything it shows off.
Yeah, but episode 8 is also when Xenon shows up for the first time. Yet another of this cavalcade of this guy seems more important than average demons, but he doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's way more important, I believe, in both the manga and the original OVAs. Okay, so I don't know if the OVA is accurate to the manga in this one. That guy kills Miki's younger brother.
In the OVA?
Yeah, eats him.
Shit.
Yeah. So
yeah, he shows up, seems like he should be important, but kind of isn't.
Yeah.
But also, Ryo goes off to find himself, heads for Peru, which is where his like mentor guy, when he first discovered that demons were a thing. Jungles of Peru. I don't know why demons showed up there first, but they did. He shows up there and happens upon this native tribe who like, oh, hey, come on in.
Like, hey, oh, yeah, they start like saying names. Like, oh, it's whatever. Hey, everybody, oh, hey, it's him. Come on in.
Bring him into into their village, and they straight up have a statue of him as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out that he was, and this is all told like piecemeal through like super blink and you miss it flashbacks, so it's hard to piece together what.
Although I loved how they did that, though.
I really
visually that worked really well for me because it told me everything I needed to know very quickly and very like starkly. I love the whole like when he grows that plant.
Yeah, when you see him like growing, doing all the stuff for the people.
Yeah,
you see that. You see that a few times actually.
So yeah, apparently Ryo has magic. That's a thing. And then not sure how they tracked him there or what their deal is, but some militia dudes show up and start wasting this village and trying to waste Ryo, and he just throws up a force field and murders these dudes and flies away. It's like, oh, okay, something's going on with him.
Yeah.
He's, like, it doesn't look like body horror freaky deaky like the demons.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, I'm thinking, is he an angel? Is he an agent of God? Is that, are we doing this, oh, demons are bad, but God's real bad too? Is that what's happening? Because that's a thing that lots of things like this tend to do. Spawn did that in the Spawn comics.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So yeah, he fights off the soldiers.
I think it's the end of that episode, right?
No, there's all. Oh yeah, I think I didn't. I think I watched 8 and 9 back to back, and I didn't put a break in my notes properly.
Episode 9 is jam packed with shit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have all this listed as episode 8, but no, there is an episode break here.
Yeah, I want to say that's the end of episode 8. I could be wrong, but then because I want to get on to Miki, and because we have there's been a whole bunch of plot threads with Miko, the hip hop dudes, and everyone's kind of bunkered down at Miki's place now that the parents are gone, and Akira now knows what's going on. And is going to come back, and if this is the first time he's going to see Miki after a while, and says, "Hey, your family's dead."
Yeah, and Akira, by the way, we kind of glazed past this. He has stated in a previous episode, like, there's got to be other devil men like me, other people with devil powers who are still human. I'm going to find them. I'm going to get them together. We're going to fix this.
He found the dude, the track runner, after everything happened in episode 6. They were actually working together. Yep. He was hiding him, but of course, he was still running off and doing stuff. And like Akira's like, dude, seriously, stay put. You're gonna get killed if you go off and do your own shit. And meanwhile, Miko, again, another devil man, she is, I forget how she meets up with that dude. Like
because they're on the roof together.
Yeah, they're on the roof together, and she actually ends up joining up with Akira and the rest of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's trying to basically get this like this shadow army behind everything. Like, okay, demons are getting persecuted. We know we're not the bad guys, so let's try just across the internet, across everything, to get all these devil men that we can. And the internet is very important. I'm going to mention episode 9. They're just trying, however they can, to get people across the world to recognize that there are people who are demons that are not bad.
Yeah. It's important to point out that Akira. And Miko has become a big part of this. Like her storyline only got more integral as time went on with Miki and the whole gang. which again was really cool. A great addition.
She's a great character. I really like her.
Oh, she is.
Because she's definitely coming into her own here, and we're about to see the payoff for a lot of this stuff with him bringing up that shadow army of Devilmen.
Yeah, but this is also when there is no more question, Ryo is a bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is also in episode 9 when he goes on TV and tells people, hey, I've figured out how devils are born into people. And I'm sitting here like, oh, did he? Like, are we going to find that out?
Yeah.
And instead, he straight up lies to everybody and says it's because they have discontent in their hearts and because, like, it's their fault, basically. And that is when he outs Akira and says, I'm going to show you the very tragic footage of my best friend who got taken over. I had already seen that he seemed discontent. He seemed to have all these emotional problems.
I tried to stop him.
Yeah. And so he took, in the first episode when they were in that blood orgy, whatever, Ryo was running around. He smashed a bottle and was running around stabbing dudes.
People.
Yeah.
Like trying to get the demons to come out. He's holding the camcorder. This is in first person, and he's making it out as though Akira had been the one going around doing this.
Yeah, he doctors all the footage to make Akira look like the worst dude. Like, he went out and killed all these people. He turned into this monster and just started, and like, because people died from the other devils that Akira killed, he just takes the kill footage of like, this guy got wrapped up. Look what he did.
By the way, I'm just going to take this moment to point out, I mentioned this on Twitter, and this is something I hate that when media does this. Oh, look at all the stuff that I filmed from the scene that you've already seen earlier, but now I've got it on camera. It's the same footage. It's impossible. None of that, most of the footage that is shown in that scene could not have been shot because, one, there wasn't even a camera to shoot it, and two, they're from impossible angles. I'm just going to point that out there because I feel like they could have done that better. But otherwise,
I can suspend my disbelief.
Yeah,
for that.
I can. It's a huge pet peeve of mine in media.
I mean, I would have to go back and watch it with that in mind. That said, I mean, there was a cameraman there. He was there holding the camcorder. Like, maybe there's stuff from, like, I don't know, crazy top-down angles that couldn't have existed, but in broad strokes, there is no reason why he couldn't have.
They did set up, there's a reason why he would have this footage, so I can believe it.
Yeah.
But the thing that got me the most is that they let Ryo onto, like, it seems, what was it, the UN or something crazy?
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. Since he was the person who broke the news about devils, it seems like everybody's just kind of accepted him as an expert at this point.
Yeah, so he's brought on, like, this national, like, all worldwide transmission of here's how I know this shit.
Yeah.
And so everyone kind of bunkered down at Miki's place with the rapper dudes. Miko's, is Miko there? No, she's not there.
No,
right?
she's there.
Yeah,
she's there because a little dude with hair in front of his eyes.
That's right, yeah.
is looking into her bag and sees her friend's glasses. She ate their friend, the rapper dude.
Yeah.
When she went Devilman, she ate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Miki, so Akira, I forget what the hell he was doing, off fighting demons, I guess, but he's trying to like get back to them, make sure they're okay, and he sort of gets sidetracked because there's.
Well, yeah. What happened was he went off to go save people because
That's when what's-his-face attacked.
Yeah, because he's at the house when he gets outed. And they come around to him. They're like, "No, you're still our friend."
That's right.
They're like, "You're obviously still Akira Fudo, but you have to go because the longer you're here, the more you're putting us all in danger." So he fucks off.
That's right. That's right.
Then Miki was the only because one of the rapper dudes was like, shit, he's a fucking, I'm gonna shoot him, I'm ready to kill him. But eventually he leaves, Akira leaves, and Miki's like, yeah, you gotta go. And that's when she in this, I love this fucking scene because now Akira's out.
It turns out that the secret to getting people to be good people and trust each other is for a teen idol to get on social media.
Yes. She goes on, social media actually plays a big part in this. Ryo's blowing up Twitter, by the way, like this whole time. He's got like 2 million retweets. That dude's nuts. But Akira is going flying off, trying to reconcile what he's doing, and just kind of the state of humanity at large, because everything has kind of gone to shit.
Yeah, because he goes off and he comes upon this like lynch mob basically that's got all these people strung up who they suspect of being devils because Ryo just told him like, anybody who just went through a sudden personality change, anybody who seems unhappy, like, yo, look around you. It's nuclear war, it's martial law, everybody's unhappy. So they got a bunch of people strung up, they're about to attack him, and Akira like flies down. He's like trying to like, no, these people are humans. They're like, think about it for 2 seconds. If they were devils, they'd have deviled out and killed you by now.
Exactly, yeah.
I love this scene.
Yeah, this is another awesome moment.
This scene is so hackneyed and over the top and cheesy, but fuck.
I love it.
I loved it. I don't know. Maybe it's just Yuasa. Maybe it's the score. Maybe it's just how fully it gives into it. But I loved the scene. I was like near tears the entirety of its like emotional climax.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like cutting in between him like trying to protect these people and Miki like posting on social media like, hey, just like giving her whole outlook on life. And hey, I know things look dark, but we've got to come together. We've got to trust people. I know Akira Fudo, and I know, like, yeah, he might look different. He might have the body of a devil, but I know this guy. He would not give in to hate. He would, he's just trying to save people. He cares more about other people than he cares about himself. He's Jesus Christ incarnate. Love him like I love him.
And this whole time she's talking, and like you're seeing the comments, like the way this is like framed is you're seeing the text over like shots of him as they're like throwing rocks and shit at him. Everyone's attacking him, and she's typing all this text like, I know he's a good guy, and all these comments are just rolling in like, fuck you, go fuck every language you can imagine, and every single type, just everybody saying fuck you, go die, every possible way you could say it. And you get more people. As she keeps talking, the scene keeps going, and the music starts to crescendo, and you get people saying, I'm a devil man too. Nah, dude, if you say Akira's like this, I'm a devil man. I don't know how to talk to people about it. And on just a very surface level, fantastic presentation. I love what they did with this scene. On a deeper level, I love how they're talking about people on the internet in this scene. I love it.
And the fact that they could say like, no, that's me. I'm that person, and I don't know what to do about this. I'm really scared. Thank you for saying something. And oh man, it was killing me. I'm like,
I know.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. And then finally in the crowd, the lynch mob that he's physically facing up against, like there's this, you see people throwing stones, but it always cuts back to this kid holding this rock, not sure what to do. And finally, he drops the rock. He goes up and he hugs Devilman.
His big fuzzy legs.
Yep. And then more kids are going up and hugging Devilman.
And it's the kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
That go up. That is so important that all the adults are the ones who wants to say fuck it, and all the kids are the ones who come from the crowd and are like, nah, dude.
Yeah, and finally, like, by the end, there's this whole line of people waiting to hug him and to, like, make
just like, just hug him, just talk, be like, so, like, what's it like? How do you, like, because you see them, like, talking for it, but you don't see what they're saying. That's what I imagine.
And they start pulling the people that they'd strung up down. A couple of them are dead, but some of them are still alive. They start apologizing. They're still
dudes holding on to shit, and everyone's like, put that fucking down.
So that's the happy ending. Meanwhile, across town.
Yeah, while this is happening for that ending, we go back to Miki, because while she's doing this, a crowd is forming around her house, and they break in.
Yeah, it's the scene where you know that things are about to go very poorly. Is that one of the guys goes out to do some errands, and he's almost back home when he looks over and there's a car full of people.
Yeah,
and you know that it's about to go very poorly, and in fact,
yeah, it's a big, intricate scene. But long story short, the lynch mob gets in, they chase him down. Most of them die at the house. Like it's a bloody, terrible fight. Some old woman just comes over and stabs the cat. And I was like, holy shit. And throughout the entire thing, I'm like, the fucking cat is always there, always, at the bowl. And I'm like, no, Devil Cat, why? Why Devil Cat? And by the way, before we cut to the rest of the scene with Miko, we see Devil Cat come up as a fucking devil man.
Yeah, it's actually a devil man. Yeah, great. But then we get Miko turns into a monster, showing like, yes, I'm a fucking devil man too. And Miki's like, cool, I don't care, let's go. And they start running off, and you get this really tearful, heartfelt speech between her going like, remember doing this in track? I'm so happy we got to run together. I am so happy I got to do this with you. I know I had all this baggage and I kept trying to best you, but really it's because I loved you and I wanted you to pay attention to me.
She yells out, I love you so much. And Mika's
like, I know. Yeah, I love you too. And man, it's so fucking good.
Yep. And of course, that would be way too happy an ending, so they both get murdered by the mob.
And yeah, Miko gets down, destroyed, and then Miki gets killed. And you get this, before even that happens, you get this shot of Miko's like, I'm gone, just go. And Miki takes the, like, you know, she's getting the baton for the relay race, runs off, but she gets stopped by a car and murdered. And I think the episode ends with the shot of her head on a pike in front of her burning house.
Yep. And I think it shows that, and then the very end is Akira showing up, seeing that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then
he's saying, he's like, fuck humans.
Just
you guys are terrible. You want to die? Let's go.
Yep.
And up until this moment, the big thing with Akira has been the only thing that is keeping me human is Miki. Without her, I don't think I'd have been able to stay the person that I am the entire time. And then that happens, and then he murders folks, which is something he has tried to avoid murdering humans this entire time. No, at that point, he just loses it, and it is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it is a soul-shattering moment, and I could not and I knew it was coming too, because I'd had that spoiled for me a while ago, but it's killer, and I can't. You didn't know that was coming, did you? No. How did that feel?
Like by this point, like they've been doing a lot to try and it starts off pretty simple. There's humans, those are good. There's devils, those are bad. And over the course of this 10 episodes, I know humans are the real monsters.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I turned to my girlfriend and said, see, humans are the real monsters. Also, there's real monsters.
Real monsters.
Yeah.
But I think we're sensing a pattern here where you guys are having these deep emotional things, and I see it, but it's muted for me. I didn't feel it that deep.
Yeah.
Because I saw that they were going with this thematically, and maybe this should have been this big grand crescendo. But because everything is so crazy all the time in this show, because it means that there's no more weight to give the moments that should have more weight.
I can see that. I can see that perspective. Again, so one of my problems with the show in general, again, is its pacing. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast, and it's I can understand sometimes you rush through the crazy stuff. But I think the pacing in this show was easily the worst part about it, because it just does not allow enough for emotional resonance. I feel like they had a limited amount of time to tell the story.
I think this was paced really rushed. It seems like they're just trying to hit everything, because it goes from 0 to 100 real fucking fast, and then it tries to push it to 150.
Yeah. And boy, 150, that would be episode 10.
No, this shit's 200 cc.
Yeah. So if you ignored our previous spoiler warning, I'm gonna reiterate: some shit goes down in episode 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is.
If you know if you watched Evangelion, this is end of Eva stuff about to happen.
Yeah. So, if you've come this far and you haven't watched this yet, and you think this might be something that you want to watch, you should probably go watch it and come back. We'll wait. Okay, they're gone. Let's not wait.
All right. So fucking Rio.
Yeah, turns out he is literally Satan.
Yep.
Literally Satan.
Yep.
And because you get it framed with the flashbacks that he is Satan, struck down to earth. And the time, you see a bit with the devils were dinosaurs and shit, but he was okay, whatever. He shows up, he's a kid in this village that we saw, and he showed up and was able to do all this crazy shit, give them food, give them water. He was able to kill their enemies and do anything they fucking wanted.
But the best part about it is that not only was he sent down to earth, but man, God ends up fuck all this shit. Fuck all these devils and fucking Satan. Just gonna wipe the earth clean.
Yeah.
Gonna start new.
Yeah, the extinction event was God saying, fuck that.
Yeah. I do like the idea that, so in this, Satan is very much a fallen angel. He's all white. He is Lucifer the Lightbringer.
Yeah.
He is not a devil. Devils were just kind of on Earth when he got here, and he's like, you know what? I like these guys. I'm going to hang with them.
Yeah.
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 And full on hermaphrodite. Like
I love that.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Oh my God.
Like it's pretty true to a lot of like ancient depictions that you see. I loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the representation of Satan in this is so goddamned good. Pun intended.
Yeah.
Like I was really happy with all the visual stuff with him. Like and yeah, so at this point, and so here's another thing with the pacing issues. They just go like they zoom through this. Like this last episode is a billion things happen over the course of what I think is like 50 years.
Like, here's the thing. It's a billion things happening, but really it's just one big fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to know what actually happened, there was a big fight. That's what happened. Like, it seemed like a million things happening at the time, and there was some weird stuff in there that hadn't been set up or explained. Like,
yeah, like the last refuge of the humans.
I guess.
Yeah. Blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole thing in the manga.
Apparently humans are keeping some devil mans in test tubes.
Yep.
Don't know how they got them to stay in those test tubes, but it doesn't matter because it all got blown up.
Yeah, it all gets destroyed. So basically the last core of the manga is just brushed over just to focus on Satan and Devilman.
Yeah, and they're fighting. Satan seems to have the upper hand most of the time. He's cutting Devilman's arms off, and other Devilmen are flying up and saying, "Use me, use me!" And they like turn into new limbs.
And your
for him.
gatai
Which is such a cool scene.
Which is
like,
Gona Guy pioneered the combining robot. We get combining demons.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Cool scene. Love it visually. Love it conceptually. This huge battle against Satan.
Yep, the moon gets exploded at one point. That happens.
It's metal as hell.
Yep.
It is.
After a while, it's like cutting back and forth between this and flashbacks of Ryo and Akira as children together. Mostly stuff we've seen before, some new stuff, Them, like at one point it shows this like idyllic, like pastoral, like seaside village where I guess they lived. And them like running around, making snow angels, being happy kids. And then it cuts to that in the present, and it's just this bombed out shit show. And then it's calm. It's their faces looking up at the stars. Ryo like in full Satan mode. Akira as Akira, not as Devilman. Like side by side, they're looking up at the stars, and Satan Ryo is saying like, what was he saying? Like, it's all so beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So he goes on. So at the very beginning of the series, he talks about like there cannot be sadness because love is not real.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he's sitting there with him, and he's just talking about beauty and the world, and he's like, I used to tell myself that since love is not real, sadness isn't real either. But I don't think that was true. And then he turns over to Ryo like, I loved you. Or no, I love you. And it's like, why am I the only one talking? Over to Akira. And he's like, why am I the only one talking? Looks down. There's no bottom half to Akira. He's dead.
He's all the way dead.
Yeah, and that's when Satan realizes like, oh, you were the only thing I actually wanted in this whole world.
And then Satan's real dad.
And then God blows up the planet again.
Yep. Yeah, and then you see those like white Orbeez falling down, and you just see like there's a shot of the Earth with all this divine bombs. Boom.
Yep. And then the Earth is a molten like blob of lava floating in space. It's all the way dead.
Yeah.
And then the last scene is Earth reformed with 2 moons.
Yeah, you got 2 moons now.
Yep. That's like a little post credits like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess life might evolve there again someday.
It might. I don't know.
Spoilers. It does.
So that's Devilman.
So that's Devilman Crybaby.
Pretty much in the broadest of strokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kieran, did you like Devilman?
I loved it. I really did. I understand. I get. I will accept every criticism everybody has about it. I don't care. I just fucking don't. The visuals alone, the experimental music, the everything the show is trying to do, I can see why people think it doesn't work, or the fact that you can tell it's trying something different, it can be a turnoff. I have seen so much cookie cutter garbage. I want something like this. I want something that even if it drops the ball, it tried, and at least it jumped for the slam dunk, even if it fucking misses it and falls on its fucking face. Because I thought the last episode was good. It didn't get me like a lot of other shows, like nowhere close to like Inuyashiki levels of shit. Like, because there is crazy like shit going on, but no real emotional investment with a lot of it. Characters were really weak, rushed through everything, kind of forgettable in some parts. I don't fucking care. The things that it did well were so good that I can look past a lot of its admittedly pretty big pitfalls for people that are looking for more a traditional narrative. I'm not somebody who cares about, I've read so many fucking things. I don't care. Tell me something crazy. Tell me a story backwards. You know, I love shit like that. And this at least tried something differently. And I love Yuasa. And the moments that did worked so well for me that I can look past a lot of it. I get where the hangups come from. And I will not slight you for not liking it. You can have that. But for me, I've always been a fan of pulling in cosmic level shit and trying to interpret it in a human way. And it tried. It really did. I don't think it got there all the way. But it was really cool seeing, as someone who grew up in a Christian household, seeing revelations happen in anime form was pretty fucking fun. Yeah, I did really like it.
For me, I really am happy that this got made at all.
Yeah.
Devilman is a it is a complicated source material to pull from, because at the time that it was made, this story was crazy. This was apocalyptic. It was violent. There was tits, gore. And of course, the manga, still being in the 70s, wasn't as sexual or violent as what we're getting now. So I think Go Nagai, like, check out Violence, Jack. This is more the level of violence that you get from Go Nagai. Like, he's most violent. Mm-hmm. I agree that it drops the ball in a couple of places with its pacing, with its ability to handle the story at times. Mm. But it does these crazy visual things. You feel these scenes more than like
totally.
It's really interesting. It's hard for me to talk about the series as a whole because I'm still processing it. Like when Ben said, "Hey, so let's start off with Devilman," I'm like, "Oh my god, we're starting with this," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna try." And by the time we get through this discussion, have a full basically TLDR of how I feel about the show, and I couldn't give you that because this show goes these places I never expected the series to go.
Yeah,
I never read the manga. The only thing that I knew were some base level stuff. I knew Miki died, so I kind of was expecting that one. I didn't know that Ryo was Satan. I didn't know the world ended at the end of it.
Yeah.
So the entire second half of this blew my mind. I couldn't believe that the series went in this direction. It was ballsy. It was crazy. And doing that alone could have been really terrible. Could have been super bad. The fact that it had this much success is insane to me. Because the idea of doing this just kind of feels like so try-hard bullshit. Like, the world...
I know,
the world
shows up. It sounds like something you'd write in middle school. Like, oh, man.
Yeah, the fact that this had emotional resonance, that it kept me captivated, that I felt sadness and horror and hope, that's insane to me. So, in that regard, while I definitely have a lot of criticisms of Devilman Crybaby, I will recommend this show in an instant as an art piece, as something where I want people to watch this when I talk about Yuasa, it's gonna be Kaiba, Ping Pong, and Devilman. So yeah, I thought it was amazing, and again, you and I.
Oh, Yuasa buddies, man.
Yeah,
it's so good. I love that.
And I think I actually share almost all the criticisms that were brought up here, except for yours. I feel like I definitely think emotionally this worked more than it didn't. But man, no, this pacing was bad in some places, and it needed like 2 more episodes and maybe one more draft.
There's some really good things on display here. The style, the animation, the music was excellent.
Oh, can we just take a moment to talk about the music?
Oh, let him finish his thing.
If by we you mean you, because as we've established, I have no context to say anything more specific than, yo, it's real good.
Dude, no, this music is some of the best fucking shit. It's
evocative of the 80s.
Yeah,
I love it.
It utilizes a lot of synth, orchestral, and it sets every mood perfectly. Oh my God. I'm going to buy this soundtrack and listen to it nonstop.
It's one that I don't listen to soundtracks of like shows often, if ever. I've listened to this. I love it.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Just wanted to get out there. The soundtrack's so bombing. All right.
Yep. I really like the use of the rappers as the Greek chorus.
That's such a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. They were real good.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And certain scenes, like we didn't really talk about it much. The one where the one rapper with his own character confesses his attraction or interest or whatever it was to Miko in freestyle rap form. That should have fallen on its face.
Right?
And at first I'm sitting there just kind of like, because I don't have a lot of patience for those kind of adolescent protestations of love or whatever, but it really wasn't that. And that's what I realized as it went on. This was just him saying to anybody, like, look at me, see me. I feel like I'm always the guy in the back. I'm always the follower, and I want somebody to see me. And he just gets more desperate as it goes along, but it's raw and it's real and it's powerful, and you can see that she's seeing it. That's an amazing scene. I thought the thing with the dad and the mom and their kid, and he's a squid now. I know I made the goofy joke. That scene worked so well, but I thought those few things did not quite make up for all the things that didn't work. Because a lot of this really was just that it does not feel like something from 2018. It feels like something I told you guys on the Unsnipped. Like, I saw a Devilman thing before. It was an OVA. This was in like the mid 90s. Yeah. It was probably made in like the late 80s, early 90s. This feels like something that you would get on a VHS tape at Blockbuster.
Yes, it does.
And that's not a compliment, because it's clumsy. It doesn't have a lot of thematic coherence, and it touches on a lot of really heady themes, and I don't think it really does much with a lot of them. It's humans are the real monsters. That's not a new theme. That's not a new insight. If you want to tackle that theme, you can do it, but you gotta come correct. And this does not do it well. It just kind of throws it out there. It's a dick pic of a theme. Here you go. Here's what I got. Do you like it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's fucking clever. I like that.
So, like, with all respect to the many things that this does right, to the obvious talent that went into this, as a total package, would I recommend that somebody sit down and watch this? I don't think I would.
So so we're gonna hold up our cards?
I think we're gonna hold up some cards, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm probably alone on this, but I'm gonna knife it.
I did not expect that, actually.
I expected that.
Yeah. By and large, I think when we were going to the show, I was like, I think Ben's not going to like this show. And I completely understand, and I do not think negatively of you because I know what you like, what you don't like. That makes sense.
Yep. And it's a razor's edge because I like style, and this is real stylish. It just doesn't have quite enough to back it up for my tastes. But I'm not sitting here saying it's crap and it's garbage and you're wrong for liking it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not saying that you're wrong for not liking it. Because Stefan, our friend Stefan, he's going to be moving here soon.
Yep.
He's one of our editors, very good guy. He heard about the show and he's like, I am not watching this.
Yep.
And I was like, good. I know you wouldn't like it, so don't watch it.
And he had a couple people on Twitter getting up in his business about it, like, oh, just give it a chance. And I'm like, nah, dude, this show wears what it is on its sleeve. If you see that and you're not feeling it, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You know you.
But if you are a fan of some of the good old ultra violence, if you have a stomach for sexual violence and provocative imagery and ideas and just want to go crazy, oh yeah, fuck this. Like, definitely fuck this show. Give it a chance. You might like it. You might not. I know that you have a stomach for all this.
Yeah.
You didn't particularly like it. But for me, I love things just like you that try and go an extra mile just to be something different from everything that you're going, like, because I like different. I dig on different. I dig on subversion and, you know, upsetting status quo. But I think for me, the things that it tried to do emotionally landed much better than it did for you. I don't think it's just trying to be contrary. I do think that by and large, this has a message, and I think it's more than just humans are the real monsters. What I think it's beyond that. I think it's all about the fact that humanity struggles as it changes and grows and develops. So I loved this show. It has big problems. It has real problems, but I can forgive them to an extent and recommend this show to people.
This show is, I don't know what to compare it to. Ben's on the mark when he says this is like something you'd get from Blockbuster on VHS, and you just went home and you have no idea what you're in for. You put it on and, oh man, there's some animated boobs. And then now she's dead. You know, that's just kind of how that era went.
And now those boobs are over there. The rest of us over there.
And what this does, what this evokes for me, as someone who grew up knowing what Devilman was, someone who saw Akira when I was 6, and as someone who understands that anime is a medium that can do things that film can't, that you just can't capture and make convincing in film. There are just some things that don't translate in literature, in film, music, or anything. Anime transcends a lot of these. And sometimes it doesn't make it all the way there. You can't tell a story about Satan and a guy that turns into a demon convincingly in a film. It's not gonna fucking happen. So with what it's trying to do, it has an identity. It has an attitude. It's evocative of its era, and it knows exactly what it is. If this sounds like something that you are missing, something that you enjoy, if you missed the first time you watched Ninja Scroll when you were 10 and you want to have something like that, totally go out and check this out. I highly recommend Devilman Crybaby if you know that this is something for you. This is not for everybody. But what it tries to do, I think it does so in spades. It is not ashamed to leave its cum streak all over your ceiling. Yep. And for I can do nothing else but respect those balls.
Yep.
Respect the balls. I think that's a good thought to go out on.
Respect the balls.
Yep.
Yeah.
People, respect the balls of others, but make sure you respect your own balls
Respect
first.
your own. Don't subject them to things that you know you don't like.
Yep. Man.
That's no good.
I love doing this whole program with you.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
And this is why. There was something that flat out, you were like, I'm knifing this even though I see why people liked it, but this wasn't for me. I don't think it worked. And it's like, yep, we're all here. We all have differentiating opinions, and this is something that I talked about on Twitter. This is why I like doing this show. This is what I want to show people is that, yeah, like He doesn't like Devilman. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some people be like, "You're a fucking idiot because you don't like this show. You don't fucking get it. Shut up."
And yeah, that's not. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
And don't be that guy. Is like oh, God, you like that? Fuck you, dude. What are you, a 12-year-old? No, don't be that guy either.
Respect each other's opinions.
And each
Stay
other's
lovely.
balls.
And each other's balls.
Respect the balls.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep.
Later.
See ya.